All right, welcome to day 103, and just got dropped off near Hamburg, Pennsylvania. We spent the night at the Microtel and caught a ride over to the Walmart where we resupplied. We had ourselves a nice dinner in the restaurant there at the motel, and we are ready to roll. We got about 15 miles today, it looks like. Unfortunately, getting a late start. It's 9:30, but we had to wait for the shuttle driver. So there's no water really between here and there. So we are stuck having to do that full distance, it looks like, today. Shouldn't be a problem though. Once we climb up out of here, it's across the ridge and it's fairly flat. So a lot of sad stuff coming out of the south. It sounds like the bottom 800 miles of trail are going to be impassable and for the foreseeable future. And at this point, my plan is to go as far south as I can into Virginia and then into my hike at that point, so I can come back in the future and finish it off as a section hike. Can't be helped. There's a lot of suffering down there, and although I'm sad about that situation, having to end my hike, it's nothing compared to the suffering that people are going through that have lost their lives, they've lost their homes. It's just terrible. So anyway, I will continue to march south, and I will hike until I run out of the trail, and then I'll get off and go home. So for now, Semper Fi and Recon out. So the trail goes along that river back there and then pops out here, and I believe that this is Port Clinton. It's the name of this town, and the trail kind of goes right down the road here. It's going to eventually, I think, head back up into there and regain the ridge and then stay along the ridge that we've been traveling along. All right, so I'm back over the river. This looks like it belongs to the railroad, this bridge, but the trail goes right across it. There's a big no trespassing sign, so I hope I'm okay. This river, I can't pronounce this. The Schuylkill. It's Schuykill. So any of y'all are from this area that know how to pronounce this river, please leave that in the comments, so I'm not sounding like a total moron, but I have no idea how to pronounce the name of the river. This is kind of cool. This is a train yard, and it looks like there's some trains in the thing over there. And then if you look, there's a trail right there. The white blaze in that tree. So I have to cross all these tracks and then head up into the woods there, and that's where we start back up on the ridge, I believe. We've been following this ridge for dozens of miles. I think it's still Kittatinny Mountain. That was a steep climb out of Port Clinton. I'm almost back on the ridge now. And then it's not flat, but it's kind of mildly up and down the whole rest of the way. I gotta deal with the rocks as usual. But it did occur to me, today is September 30th, and it is exactly 2 years to the day that I worked my last shift as an ER doctor. And I walked out of there. The people from the place had a nice going away party for me at a local brewery, and that was it. I stepped into retirement. So it's been 2 years exactly till today, and I've gone from being a trusted professional to being a hairy, stinky hiker trash, and I've enjoyed every second of it. So hike on. Oh my, look at the rocks. Just go on for a long ways here, and it's hard to describe how hard they are to walk on. There's no flat surfaces, and they're slippery. And if you slip off, your foot gets jammed between two of them, and it really hurts. I do not enjoy this at all. So I've gone just about 10 miles out of 15, got another 5 miles to go. Unfortunately, there's no water out here, so I'm hoping at the marked water at 15 miles, that water will actually be there. This is a little spooky. It looks like they've had a fire here recently. You know, the trees are all kind of blackened and whatnot. It's pretty open forest, really. Oh, continuing. Okay, so I'm 13 miles into the day. It's 5 p.m. Unfortunately, we got a late start, waiting for the shuttle driver. So I'm gonna start looking for a place to camp, but this is the first water I found in 13 miles. And you can see it's just trickling. There's nothing deep enough here to even scoop out with this scoop. So what I did was I took and I put this leaf here. I anchored the top of it with 2 rocks. Now the water's running off in a little stream, and I can put my cup under there and collect that and pour it into my water bottle. So I'm gonna collect about 3 liters and then carry it about another mile up to a reported tent site. So I need to get started. So the end of day 103, and what a difference a day makes. Last night I was eating fettuccine Alfredo and drinking draft IPAs at the Microtel in Hamburg, Pennsylvania. And tonight I'm in my tent and it's raining. Did close almost 14 miles today, and we got a late start. We didn't get started till 9:30 because we had to wait on the shuttle. And so had I gone further to the intended tent site at 15 miles, it would have been dark. All day is behind me about 3 miles, so he's camping elsewhere. And anyway, not a drop of rain all day long, you know, for what, 10 hours maybe. And with half a mile to go, it started raining. So anyway, here I am, got the tent set up. The next move here is to get unpacked and start working on dinner. That's it. We'll see what tomorrow brings. So for now, Recon out. Yep, good morning. And this is day 104, and I am still bumping around in these rocks in Pennsylvania. So all day and I got separated yesterday. He ended up about 3 miles behind me. I camped last night at just a tent spot in the forest here, and wasn't supposed to rain, but of course it did. And I hiked all day long with not a drop of rain, and half a mile before the tent site started raining. I was like, oh really? So, but I got the tent up, and ultimately it stopped raining for a while. I was able to get out, get my dinner made, hang my bear bag, and then get back in the tent. And then it kind of rained off and on all night, but I stayed dry. I must say I'm in love with my tent. That thing has not failed me this entire trip, so pretty pleased with that piece of gear. Anyway, moving on, there's a shelter in about 10 miles, and really the ultimate goal is tomorrow, the Swatera hostel. And that's 21 miles, 22 miles from here. And I've had some stuff sent there, some medication and whatnot, and some gear. So anyway, I'm moving out, gonna go to that shelter. All day will probably catch me there, and then tomorrow on to Swatera. So for now, Recon out. Holy smokes, that was scary. So I had to cross this. This is Pennsylvania Route 183. The trail's in the far side. And if you look right here, as these cars come around that corner up that hill, you can't see them. And you're coming out right there in the out of the woods. And I took off out of there. And sure enough, there's a car coming. And I had to run across the thing. And then fortunately, the other 2 lanes, there was no car. So that's just a sketchy, dangerous crossing right there. You can't see hardly at all down there to the left. So anyway, I survived. It's like playing the Appalachian Trail version of Frogger. It's kind of cool. Like a totally random thing to run into out here. I'll take a still photo of it so you can read what it says. But it says 1755, site of Fort Dietrich Snyder, a lookout post to warn of the approach of enemies in the French and Indian War. The Historical Society of Berks County, 1915, relocated 1946. And there it is, ladies and gentlemen. 1,000 miles. Right there, 1,000. I did my best I could with these sticks. 1,000 miles to the very spot. What's funny is that my phone died and I only had 0.8 of a mile to go to the shelter. So, and then I suddenly remembered as I was hiking that I was gonna come up on 1,000 miles. I didn't want to miss that. So then I had to dig my charger out of my pack and recharge the phone a little bit. So there it is, everybody, 1,000 miles from Mount Katahdin. So this is the end of day 104, and I am in the 501 shelter. This is one of those fancy shelters. It's enclosed. I'm the only one here right now. I think all day is going to come along behind me, but it's got wooden bunks in here. It's got a picnic table. There's a porta potty outdoors. So it's actually pretty plush as shelters go. Anyway, that's the end of day 104. Tomorrow we'll be at Soterra Gap, and we'll be going to the hostel there where I've had some medication sent ahead. So not very long today, only did about 10 miles, and we have about 11 or 12 to go tomorrow. So not super long days, just, getting to the next place. I had a little temper tantrum today. The rocks were bad. I've heard they'll get better after tomorrow, but I just can't tell you how frustrating they are. Slipping, twisting ankles, getting my feet smushed. Not pleased with the rocks, but what are you gonna do? It's geology. So I'm gonna get my air mattress blown up here. I'm waiting for all day to show up. Apparently you can order pizzas to this place. So I'm trying to figure that out. And then when he gets here, we'll see if he wants to order a pizza. So for that, good night and Recon out. Good morning and welcome to day 105 and 105 days on trail so far. I'm at mile 1,000 and not even halfway yet. I can't get my head around that. I've still got 98 miles to go to even get to the halfway point. And when I think about the effort and the work and the long days to get here, and I'm not even halfway, it just kind of blows my mind. But the sad, unfortunate thing is that it looks like the Appalachian Trail Conservancy is closing the trail from Rockfish Gap all the way to Springer Mountain, Georgia. So 800 and some odd miles of trail are now closed due to the damage from the hurricane, which means that I've got probably 30 days at most left on trail. And that depends on whether or not Shenandoah National Park is passable, because I don't know about that. So I'm gonna enjoy the time I have left. I guess my tentative plan is to get off trail at Rockfish Gap and go home. That's probably 1,300 and miles and some, and then come back in a year or two and finish it up. The ATC has said they will count as a through hike any southbounders that had to get off and couldn't finish because of the hurricane, so long as they get back on and finish within 12 months of starting. So anyway, going to move out here, going to go down to Soterra Gap. That's where I had some medication sent, and then we'll move on from there. So for now, Semper Fi and Recon out. Wow. I can hear a rooster down there trying to wake people up. It's a little late, rooster. Look at the clouds though, it's supposed to rain today. And that will be day 8 of rain. I would be happy for the rain to stop. It's cold out here too, it's probably in the 50s. There's the interstate. I'm coming on down to Soterra Gap, and then there's a hostel on the other side of the interstate we're going to stay at tonight. So I'm going to head on down there. I have to cross the interstate on the overpass. Right, I survived the interstate. Trail goes underneath the overpass. and I'm walking up the road. I think I gotta go across this thing here. Anyway, it's raining. Day 8th day in a row of rain. So yay, Pennsylvania. Not on my list of favorite states. Check out this cool old iron bridge. Look at this thing. Wow. That's kind of cool. I don't know how old this thing is. There's a sign up there. What does it say? I can't read the date on it. Oh, here you go. You see up there? It's raining, so it's 1890. This thing was built. Holy smokes, look at it. Well over 100 years old. Isn't that cool? Look at that thing. All right, let's go. We're gonna walk on it. It seems pretty sturdy. It's got wooden decking though. That's kind of crazy. All right, I'm putting the phone away because it's raining. All right, so here I am at the Swatera hostel, and it's like basically self-serve. They text you the code to get into this room here, and this is the little resupply shed. And they've got a refrigerator and a freezer in here with different items in them. Coffee pot over here. This resupply stuff over here, you know, the typical ramen, Pop-Tarts, Carnation Instant breakfast, you know, all the healthy things that a thru hiker needs right over here. Okay. And then there's a key for the shower in the wall there. And then if you come over here, this is where we're staying. And these are 4 little cot tents. And we're inside this thing, but you know, these are basically, you know, tents. Little cots that got a tent on them. So that's where we're staying in tonight. The only alternative here is to camp in the tent, and you know, I've got enough nights in the tent in the rain, so I'm gonna pass on that one. And there's a Sasquatch over there. So anyway, I'm gonna get my stuff in here, try to get cleaned up a little bit. I'm waiting for all day to get here so we can go get some dinner. Good morning and welcome to day 106. So at 1,012 miles, stayed here at Swatera Gap last night, and continuing on, planning to be in Duncannon in 3 days. So this is Thursday morning. We should be in Duncannon by Saturday afternoon. I need to buy a new shirt. My shirt's falling apart right there. Can't see it. There's a big hole right there. There it is. Big hole in my shirt. I tried sewing it up and the fabric just shredded. I finally figured out why. Because when I take my backpack off, I slide this right shoulder strap down off that shoulder and it's just worn through the material. So I was hoping to get it to last another couple of weeks so that I could get a new shirt when I meet up with my wife, but it's not gonna fly. So anyway, I'm gonna head down to Duncannon, take about 3 days to get there. Today we're gonna go about 13 or 14 miles to a creek or stream where there'll be water, and then we're gonna camp. So it's 8:30 in the morning and off I go. Remember our Gold Star families, Recon out. I did forget to mention that last night I actually found out that we were staying very close to Fort Indiantown Gap military reservation, where I've been coming for years to help with some training, and every fall basically I come up here. I had no idea that I was that close, because on the trail you just have blinders on and don't know what's outside of the trail corridor. And anyway, it turned out that the sports bar Moose's LZ was only 3 miles from where we were camping, so we caught an Uber up there and had dinner there. And then the other thing is that it rained basically 8 days straight, and so today's supposed to be sunny, so I'm very much looking forward to that. It'll be nice to be dry for a day. So again, Recon out. I was way down there, and now I'm up here. It looks like they've had a fire here. All these trees are burned. A bunch of charcoal trees on the ground here. And all the other trees have burn marks on them. I wonder when that occurred. Looks like I'm in a beaver bog here. You can see water there and water over there, and this is all muddy. In fact, this is the first significant mud I've encountered since leaving Vermont. So I hope it doesn't get much worse, because I don't want my shoes full of mud. And I got these shoes in Connecticut, so they don't have all that mud from Vermont in them. I'm gonna try to get through here without getting too wet. I thought for sure I was going swimming. So it's all wet. And I was able to hop from stick to stick. I had to climb up onto that great big trunk right there. I had to walk out on that trunk from, you know, the low part all the way up to the high part. And then I had to lower myself down, sit on the trunk, and then slide off and put my feet on one of those logs in the water right there. And I was able to walk across those 3 logs and get over to here. I'm on a little bridge here. Yeah. Just a couple of boards, so much a couple of boards. So anyway, I was able to navigate this whole mess without getting my feet wet, which I'm pretty excited about. As you can see, it's all running through there. This is all a great big beaver bog. Beavers doing what beavers do. This is Roush Creek, and apparently there was a lot of mining activity nearby, and so the creek had a very low pH and fish could not survive in it. So what they did was, I'm standing on the bridge, but what they did was they put a dam here, and so some of the water is diverted from the creek into this thing over here. And it's full of limestone, and so the water runs over the limestone, and that causes the pH to be increased. And so there are brook trout and other things living downstream now that couldn't previously survive. I am not going to get water from this because it's probably got limestone in it and will wreck my filter. And I've got enough water anyway, so pretty cool though. It's coming right down through there, and you can see the grid on the top where they probably dump in the limestone. There's a big pile of it over there with the wheelbarrow. I'm sure they just replace it that way. So, moving on. All right, just cruising along here. I've come about 12.5 miles. I've got about 1.5 miles to go for the day. It turned into a beautiful day. So, no rain. It rained 8 days in a row. And rained all night last night, so I'm pretty happy about it not raining. It's cool, the sun is out, it's just gorgeous. So this is a perfect hiking day. I'm gonna get up here to where the stream is supposed to be, make sure we got water, and then there's supposed to be a campsite nearby, so I'll find that. And then all day will catch up to me eventually. So anyway, it's a beautiful day. I'm going to get to camp here pretty quick. So for now, Recon out. Pretty nice little campsite, really. Tent is set up over here. I've got it open and letting it dry a little bit because it got put away wet a couple nights ago. But a big fire pit. We're not gonna have a fire, most likely, but look at that. Got a couple of rock chairs to sit in. A rock chair over there. And a couple over here. So I'm gonna go ahead and take my place in my rock throne and get my dinner going while I wait for my tent to dry out. Day 107, and it's not supposed to rain today. It's pretty wet. I think it's dripping out of the trees though. It's just fog, but it's wet right now. Anyway, we camped out last night. Slept great. I mean, I slept absolutely great until about 5 this morning. And then we started getting visited by all kinds of critters. There was something about 30 or 40 feet away making all kinds of screeching noises. I don't know if it was a squirrel or what. That woke me up. And then there was hoof sounds all around my tent. I take that to be a deer maybe. And then there was this cooing and shuffling, and some other campers had previously reported a porcupine, and I suspect that's what it was. It was going all around the camp, and there's these two girls that were camping right there with us, and one of them was whacking her shoe on the ground to chase the thing away. So every time I tried to go back to sleep, she'd start beating the ground with the shoe, and I'd wake up. Or she was beating her hands together or something, trying to chase this thing away. But I could never see it. I'd get my light out and I'd look around, I wouldn't see it, but then I'd hear it outside my tent making this cooing noise and shuffling around. So I gotta think it was a porcupine. Anyway, had breakfast, back on trail. So I'll get up with you later. Got a nice little spring right here. It's not listed on my app, but you can see it's like just running right off there. And it's coming right outside the mountain right there. It's coming right outside the mountain. So, a lot of iron. You can see it's red. Probably some iron content, but it actually tastes really good. So I went ahead and filled up here. Good morning. It is day 108. And spent the night last night at the Peters Mountain Shelter. I didn't video a lot yesterday. There wasn't much to see. It was just in the woods the whole time. But stayed at the Peters Mountain Shelter last night. Actually stayed in the shelter, which is unusual, instead of camping. But I really couldn't find any decent places to put a tent. So had a great night in the shelter, slept great. Rained like crazy. And I didn't think it was supposed to rain, but apparently a front was coming through because now it is cold and windy. So it's pretty refreshing, but at least it's dry. It's not raining anymore. A gentleman came in last night with 3 young kids. They were probably 5, 7, and 9 years old. And they were all wearing camouflage uniforms. And so was Dad. He said they wanted to play Army. So they all dressed up in camouflage, and I hiked up here from the parking area about 3 miles after dark. And they set up a tent, spent the night. And this morning they're in the shelter making breakfast. They're eating MREs for breakfast. So cutest bunch of kids. And I think it's just so awesome that he brought them out here, because that is a lot of work to bring 3 young kids out like that up here into the mountains. So some great memories for those kids, and kudos to Dad for doing that. So I'm going to head on, heading into Duncannon, Pennsylvania today. We're going to stay at the hostel there. I need to resupply. I need to buy a new shirt. There's a huge hole in my shirt and I can't sew it. Every time I try to sew it, it falls apart. So anyway, I'm going to get moving and I'll get up with you all later. It's a little side trail here. I'm not one for taking detours, but it looks like it might have a nice little view. So let's just go down and take a look. Because we're walking along this thin ridge and you can see it drop off on the right and the left. This is to the left of me. And wow, look at this. Pretty nice. Wow. Some kind of hawk or bird flying around down there. Some kind of big raptor. That's pretty. I'm not going to go any further. It'd be hard to get back up here. I don't want to climb down there. But you can see we're like walking on this narrow ridge, and this is off to my left. It drops off pretty steadily, and then you can't see from here, but right up there, it drops very precipitously off to the right side, down to the valley, and there's a bunch of farms down there. So this is a fairly narrow spine we're walking along, probably about maybe 50 yards wide. There's a cut here for the power lines. The trail ascends and goes up to the left on these rock steps. And then there's a cut for the power line right here. If you look to the right, you can see the town down there. That's kind of cool. I mean, look at that. There's a farm over there with a silo, and there's some, I don't know what water that is in the background. It's cool. I love coming out in places like this, where all of a sudden you pop out and you can see, like, you know, towns and farms and people going about their lives. Pretty cool. So that's off to the right of the ridge that I'm on, and then off to the left, I showed you that earlier. So, Peters Mountain Shelter is where I stayed last night. This is the valley to my right that I've been looking at with the farms and stuff. And you can see it drops down steeply here. And this is Stony Mountain, and that's that ridge line to my left. And then this is the area in between the two. So heading down here to the Susquehanna River and Duncannon. But that's the ridge we've been running on right along there. It's called Peters Mountain. Peters Mountain. Some good walking through here. What a beautiful day. Yeah, it rained hard last night and apparently a front came in. So now it's much cooler and windy. And the trail's in pretty good condition. The rocks are not nearly as bad. Beautiful temperature. It's just a glorious day to be out here hiking. And I am enjoying every second of it. The best views I hear appear to be from some of these power line cuts. I'm not sure what river that is. I'm heading down toward the Susquehanna. That may be what that is. Really nice, beautiful view though. The power lines are going right around top of me. I'm under the tower. Pretty cool though. I'm up in these rocks, and honestly, I'm kind of surprised to not find any rattlesnakes up here sunning themselves, given that it's warmed up finally. I checked super well before I came climbing up here to make sure there's no rattlesnakes chilling. But I didn't see any. Under that rock right there though, I can zoom on, I don't know if you can see it or not. Yeah, right there, right in the center of the screen there. That's a gigantic praying mantis. He's just down there hanging out. All right, here's a shock to the system. Coming down out of the mountains and got all this craziness going on. Looks like I gotta cross these railroad tracks and take a left there and walk up over there, I guess, and cross that bridge over the river. And so I'll put the phone away so I don't get hit by a car. And here we go. Crossing the Susquehanna River, Duncannon, PA on the other side. Good morning, day 109. Spent last night here at the kind of outdoorsy hostel. Great experience, slept great, really neat facility, probably one of the best days I've had. Last night we went over there, that building with the white railings, that's the Doyle Motel, and had dinner over there, and then walked up the street another half mile, had ice cream, and came back. So had a lot of food last night, went across the street over to there. If you can see that, that's the breakfast place, and went over there and had a huge breakfast this morning. So anyway, I'm ready to roll out. I got a new shirt because I tore the shoulder. The other one fell apart, basically from my backpack strap rubbing on it. So anyway, I got a new shirt. I got an orange hat because it is hunting season, and the hat was in the hiker box. I got it for free. So I'm gonna wear my orange hat and my new shirt and get started here. We're gonna go about 15 miles, and then there's a trail angel that's gonna pick us up and take us back to her home tonight. So pretty sweet deal. All right, so I'll be up with you later. Recon out. Bye, Duncannon. Definitely a little trail town. Had a good time here.